talking about Colin Powell, who you were close with. Colin Powell had great standing around the world. What is your response that you purposely gave Colin false information to present to the UN in the run-up to the invasion of Iraq?
My response is, really?
Exactly.
Okay, you honestly think I'm going to give Colin Powell false information and he's going to take it? You know, that doesn't say much about Colin Powell, does it? Mm-hmm. That he would sit at the UN and read things that he either wasn't smart enough to know were true or didn't check. You know, this is one of those kind of ridiculous things that people say that you just want to say, okay, let's establish the facts here. Colin Powell used to be chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. If anybody knows how to read intelligence, it would be Colin Powell. So Colin Powell spends 3 days at the State Department going over with a fine-tooth comb the intelligence that he's about to present. I went out there with him, that he's about to present to the UN. And he then constructs the presentation that he's going to make, throwing out any intelligence that he believes is not on firm basis, and he makes the presentation. And it turns out, not because anybody was trying to mislead him or that he was trying to mislead the world at the UN, that some of that information turns out to be wrong. Now, why does some of that information turn out to be wrong? Well, you're dealing with an opaque regime in Saddam Hussein who's doing everything he can to cover up what's happening with his weapons of mass destruction. You no longer have inspectors on the ground. So when you see that Saddam Hussein has, through military front companies, companies that we know front companies are related to his military, has bought large amounts of chlorine. All right, you might say they have a whole lot of swimming pools in Iraq. Or you might say chlorine is one of the important ingredients in nerve gas. Now, if I see the Japanese buying large amounts of chlorine, I'd probably say they've got a lot of swimming pools. But this is Saddam Hussein, who has a history with weapons of mass destruction, who has used chemical weapons. And so the context is important here for the bits of information that you're seeing. And I think that's how we got to some wrong conclusions about what the stockpiles really looked like in Iraq.